Israel-Gaza Iran War News Live Update. Despite failing to protect Gazans from Hamas, UN attacks Israeli protections. After an Israeli bombing on a Gaza UN school, the UN denounced its failure to protect people from Hamas terrorists utilizing civilian institutions. An Israeli attack late Wednesday targeted Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad militants in Gaza who had taken part of a UN school. The UN has complained. Many media repeated the UN criticism. However, terrorists inside a UN facility again demonstrate that the UN is not protecting people from Hamas. Overnight, the IDF launched a precision, intelligence-based strike hitting dozens of Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists hiding inside a UN school in Gaza, according to IDF spokesperson RADM Daniel Hagari. A number of these terrorists engaged in the October 7 Hamas massacre. I will shortly divulge the identities of those terrorists we killed. Hagari added, the terrorists were operating from this UN school. They planned and executed assaults from UNRWA school classrooms. Multiple sources provided intelligence for our precision hit. Terrorists at this school planned imminent assaults on Israelis. We halted a time bomb. It was like this. The UN Under-Secretary for Humanitarian Affairs called the strike yet another tragedy, proving civilians are unsafe in Gaza. We must follow battle rules. Protect civilians. States must leverage diplomatic and economic pressure, arms export conditions, and impunity cooperation. UNRWA Commissioner General, the school was sheltering 6,000 displaced individuals when attacked. Claims that armed groups were at the refuge are disturbing. Unfortunately, we cannot corroborate these claims. The Israeli and UN accusations again demonstrate that the UN and other international agencies in Gaza are not protecting civilians from Hamas. Hamas has actively built tunnels in civilian areas and exploited hospitals, schools, and UN and other foreign facilities to hide gunmen and terrorists. Nearly 1,000 Hamas militants entered Shifa Hospital in late February and early March, before an IDF raid. 1,000 men don't sneak into a hospital and take over parts without supervision. However, NGOs and UN members in Gaza have consistently refused to mention Hamas or oversee facilities for Hamas. Many of these groups prohibit their members from using the word Hamas. So they say armed groups. It seems sense that hundreds of men who take over part of a building without uniforms or weapons are not an armed group. Understanding the code of silence is crucial. Not just because no one notices. Recent interviews with a Kurdish doctor who volunteers in North Gaza showed that Hamas had turned the third floor of a hospital into a VIP area for its members and favored patients. Hamas unaffiliated patients were denied care. International NGOs working at the same hospital have to report political restrictions on patient care. Only one Kurdish doctor dared say this. In Gaza, Hamas uses civilian facilities deliberately and tries to hide for itself. This forces civilians into Hamas-controlled regions. Tell civilians that Hamas is unlawfully using a shelter or school. A school administrator should notify scores of adult men unaffiliated with the school entering the building and taking over classrooms and warn civilians. Gaza's dilemma is that Hamas uses hospitals and schools and keeps quiet about it. The UN, one of Gaza's most powerful agencies, seemingly failed to defend residents from Hamas. Saying the armed group cannot be verified is problematic. Establishing a mandate requires the UN and other NGOs to rigorously monitor their facilities and prevent unconnected men from entering. Report unattached men and warn civilians sheltering.